Good morning, Legend Nation.
How's it going, guys?
Good morning.
All right, I'm Frank.
I'm
We have
Matt.
Matt.
Keith.
Glad you finally remembered his name. All right. So we have another exciting episode for you today. We are going to we're going to be talking about Black Dahlia, Alcatraz,
No.
Sasquatch.
No.
Oh,
Dark Watchers.
Dark Watchers. Yes, Dark Watchers. All right. Yeah, we've been having a little fun for a start. But, all right. So, how many of you know or have heard the story of Dark Watchers? Know what it's about? I will wait for your answer. Nobody?
He literally might wait for your answer, so.
Yeah. Answer.
Put in the comments your answer now.
Yes. But no, seriously, as an avid backpacker that I am, this one truly hits home. Go on many solo hikes, etc. And I can definitely see how this one would freak someone out, especially more so in olden times, a couple of centuries ago. Before modern technology and plethora, the spread of information, etc. So, yeah, I think this is going to be a good topic. Keith, don't want to take away from you. I know this is your show.
That's the show. Have a good day. No, so.
Worst transition ever. Come on.
Going back into what you were saying, that it's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
This legend started around the 1700s. The Spanish would end up naming this legend Los Vigilantes Oscuros, meaning the Dark Watchers. So I think it's pretty cool that, it has that history back to 1700s, over 300 years, of what they've calculated. I've actually read that it goes back to the 1542 area, that people have been seeing them since then. So, for many years, the Californians would look up at the sun over the Santa Lucias Mountains, which they called Blue Sur. They actually have a name for that mountain, but it's the Santa Lucias Mountains. They would see tall, dark figures cloaked in
mist.
What's that?
In the mist.
In the mist, but they would be hats and they would have capes. Mm-hmm. So there's actually a definition of this person, this being. They would stand on the peaks and watch travelers walk through the mountains and observe them where they lived, as far as the Dark Watchers would go. So, dealing with this legend, do you think it's a paranormal legend, or what are your thoughts?
I mean, right now, I think it might just be a trick of the eye. Because what I've researched last night on it was it just, with all the pictures that have been taken, it looks like a trick of the eye. Could be more, in terms of people who, don't have a cell phone camera or a camera in general with them at the time. They could actually be seeing something, but at this point, I think it might just be a trick of their eye. So,
okay,
I'm going into a little bit skeptical.
All right, what's your thought?
Definitely can see how this would be. Excuse me. To humans or people a couple hundred years ago, I can definitely see how this would freak them out, etc. But yeah, now with modern science, again, yeah, I think it's debunked, but I think it's still worth entertaining. It's an entertaining topic, I should say, and I think it'd be fun to experience, if not just a little bit creepy at the same time, even though you know what it is. Or what we think it is, but I think it'd be fun, one to experience, and yeah, just in general to be able to recreate it, this situation.
Yeah.
It's because the conditions had to be just right.
Right.
And to, especially with the plethora of, the cameras or cell phone cameras, etc., to be able to take a picture of it and say, good memory in that regard.
And it has been caught on camera. As you guys can see behind us, we have the video, the pictures, and so forth that people have caught this on camera. And it is
this one I thought she was pretty hot. That's just me.
I think that's me. So there is evidence behind this theory. The apparitions, like I said, they're described to be 10-foot tall, sensor hats and capes. And it's overall, when every picture that you look at, the actual picture is not like video games, so forth. It does have that description. It does show. Going back to what you're saying is, I don't think it's really paranormal. I think it's the illusion of visual effects and the sun coming up behind the mountains and the fog and everything, looking. Go ahead.
No, I don't mean to interrupt. Bro, I didn't get it, or forgot to say it. This one kind of ties in for me, especially if it happened in the 1700s, and even if not prior to when the Spanish were invading, the Western United States, ties into skinwalkers as well. Think about that parallel type deal. Is it plausible?
Because of the legend and the natives. Yeah.
It's been around for so long too.
Yeah.
So could it be a variation of skinwalkers then who are, looking or watching
from the mountaintop?
Yeah, exactly. Which, if that is true, talk about really scary.
Well, then it goes into like a god type form rather than a skinwalker, right? Because these are more of an apparition that people are seeing in the sky per se, and not more so on the ground as a skinwalker would be.
Right.
So, what are your thoughts on that?
You just totally debunked my entire theory. I'm done. I'm done playing today. No, I think it's you're right. I forgot about that aspect of the skinwalkers and so forth.
But I do agree with the native part as far as legend. It could be a type of god. Because back in those days, if you would see the image, again, it's going to be posted, the image that we have seen, you look at it like, wait, is that someone coming and trying to tell us something? Is that a premonition? Is that, what is that?
Yeah.
What is that? Yep.
Very superstitious. Culture as a whole was very superstitious, or more so than it is today.
So what would you do if you were walking around just a mountaintop? You're pretty far up a mountain, and it's going to take about an hour or two to get down, and you just see this figure appear. What would your thoughts be?
I tried to debunk it.
Okay.
I mean, that's the logical mind that I have is I would try to figure out what it is, and if I can't explain it, then I would take that experience and run with it.
Yeah, same way. Definitely try and rationalize it first, and then.
So a lot of times when these figures appear, it's either sunrise or sunset. So you got the lighting appearing off the mountaintops. I think this is the California version of shadow people. Where shadow people, yes, they are paranormal. They do exist in the paranormal realm.
It's just light.
What's that?
It's just light.
As far as California goes? Okay.
Just like shadow people. Shadow people can be either a figment of your imagination or light bouncing off of just your peripherals, right? So you can just barely see it, and it might just be a shadow. It might be something that your mind is making it up, right? So and that's what I think shadow people kind of are, unless you see it head on.
So in my experience, my knowledge of it, a shadow person is more intelligent. So it's not residual where it just happens over and over and over. If you run into a shadow person, they are known to, okay, if I'm going to go to point A to point B, I'm going to have a path. Where a residual is going to have a path.
Right.
A consistent path.
Yep.
Where it will not deviate from it.
So they try to avoid you.
Yeah, essentially. So I think it's this California's version of a shadow person, just because they can morph essentially at different areas in different times. One thing I did read was that this phenomenon, whatever. Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Phenomena.
Yeah,
It's
well, yeah.
That's where he was going. I'm sorry.
So it's it's soundly caught on camera.
Mm-hmm.
So are people playing into it? Like you said, are they seeing it on the corner of their eye and they're like, okay, yeah, I saw it. Oh my gosh, hey man, I saw this, I saw that. Or is it legitimately a figure and everyone's just playing it off as it's like it's the plane of light and so forth.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't. From what I've seen with this one, I don't think you can correlate that between shadow people, because shadow people are more intelligent. This one I've always seen is just stationary. So a lot of people's accounts of shadow people are they move around, right? They're constantly moving. Whereas this, I've only seen pictures of it stationary, and that's it, right? Like if I had something where I saw a video of it and it was moving, then sure I might account that as more of an intelligent being. But where it's at now, to me it's just a stationary figure. So.
What are your thoughts?
I agree.
Stationary?
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, it's to what we know it actually is, or what we think it is right now. Yeah, it's a stationary figure because you notice it off to your side, you turn, and you are stationary versus, and then all of a sudden you see like, oh hey, so it's going to be stationary.
So, okay, let me ask you this. The reports say that it shows up, the Dark Watcher will appear, and then moments later it'll disappear with very little variation of
light.
Okay.
So how do you explain that?
Something. All right. I don't want to give away the big reveal.
No, you
because if you're going to tell what it actually is, I don't want to spoil it.
I don't know what it is, man.
Okay. So
go ahead.
What it really is just like we've been saying, plant light. You got your mist, especially up in the mountains. It's where this thing is seen most often, or the only place to see it. So up in the mountains, you got a heavy fog, heavy mist, etc. And it's a play on light when they are noticed. These Dark Watchers are noticed in the morning or the evening when the sun is low, right? Mm-hmm. So the sun has to be behind you, or yes, I'm sure there may be instances where you're on one mountain, there's somebody on another, and the sun is over behind them, but it's casting. Basically, you're seeing your own shadow or somebody else's shadow blown up on
projector.
Yeah, like a projector on some fog.
Okay.
Or mist.
But if someone takes that as like a sign or a sign from God, right, where they see it as like an angel type presence, and so be it, right? That gives them comfort.
No, hey, do your thing. If that's what gives you peace and comfort, have at it. Mm-hmm. You know, you're not hurting anybody, and
right.
You got a cool story to tell.
And it's
a cool picture.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, that too. That's pretty pretty sweet picture. I mean, how many people say they captured it on camera?
Yeah.
But how many people figured it out? Especially like the ancient Spanish, but the Spaniards who came in 1500s or so. So you got Joe Snuffy in the back of the formation, or Jose Snuffy, it would be.
Yeah.
And also he figures it out, so he's doing little anime figures. He's got like the giant duck eating the
freaking people out.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh my god! True too.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if someone's gonna be on a mountain.
Ancient projector hands, right?
Yeah. All right. So in 1960, a principal and his students were hiking the mountains. The group became separated, and when he went to try to find the students, which I think this story is absolutely bogus, but when he went and tried to find students, he came up upon these people like basically playing on a rock. And he's like, well, why are my students playing on a rock? Mm-hmm. And they, not sure if they disappeared, but they were not human beings. They were not a being. They were something paranormal.
Yeah, entities.
Yeah. So throughout this story, it goes back to he doesn't know if it was a human that he had an interaction with, or if it was an entity.
I mean, it very well could be, because that's very plausible in terms of, I don't know, that up in the mountains, that's more spiritual, right? A lot of ancient civilizations went to the mountains, went up high to theoretically get closer to their gods, right?
Very true.
So that very well could be something that is either could be residual, or it could be something that is
I didn't think of that. It could be residual. That could be a paranormal residual. He just walked upon the right time of day, and it happens every day at this time.
Yep.
And they're standing there.
That is creepy.
That would creep me out. Yeah. So another story that goes on this: Olivia Hamilton of King City stated that she had interactions with the Dark Watchers, leaving fruits and foods, and in return, the Dark Watchers would leave her gifts as well.
What type of gifts?
I'm not sure, but I'm assuming probably food.
I would hope so.
Say?
Yeah, she didn't.
Because the first thing in my mind when she's leaving fruits and so forth, is critters coming up. They eat the stuff and they're like, "Oh, thank you."
Yeah, right.
Leave the pile right there, like, "Oh, we really appreciate it." And she's like, "Oh, gifts from the gods." Oh,
it's just waste. But that's one of the stories. Is she had an interaction with them, and they reciprocated the gift giving. So she would go up there multiple times.
You're welcome, people. Can't get that out of your head now.
Thanks, Frank.
Thanks, Frank. Serious conversation right now. You know, and you got boo-boo.
You just said reciprocating, and I just went right to.
Thank you. So you have two incidences now of people saying this is their interaction. Me personally, it kind of goes back to the Mothman. The words got out about Dark Watchers. There's a history of it. People like want to be in limelight. So yeah, I dealt with it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and especially in the mountains, you got a lot of hikers. She was certainly not the first person to hike that trail.
Yeah.
Or so. She leaves a gift. So another hiker comes by later that day. It's like, man, somebody's leaving. Talk about trail angels, as they call it, I think, on the Appalachian Trail.
Mhm.
Trail angels. So leave them gifts. Like, oh, I got to return. I feel, thank you. Really, I really need this. They give something back. And this lady's going, oh my gosh, it's the Dark Watchers. And no.
It's like geocaching in real life.
Exactly.
That's where you ever geocached? So it's an app
It
where
does
you.
involve pooping.
It does not. No, you go to certain places and it's just an app on your phone that'll tell you which place has a geocache. You go and you find it, and then you open it up, and there's a log of people. You write your name down, you leave something. You can take something, but usually you just leave something and
Gotcha.
run away. So same idea,
Mm-hmm.
but
So
that's an app. This is trails.
but they have been doing that in the 1960s.
Right.
Yeah, so I
And
didn't
she just kept going back and be like, oh my God, there's water
stuff.
here, or
Yeah.
there's. Okay, so that could be debunked.
people are leaving trinkets, and she thinks, oh, it's the Dark Watchers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if it gives her joy, hey,
There you go.
there you go, lady.
Well, exactly.
But it's not only her that would get joy from this. I mean, there's multiple people, there's multiple civilizations, there's multiple encounters with these Dark Watchers. Which honestly, I'm just going to tell you right now, if I was out in California and I saw it, I'd be like, fuck, the rapture's coming.
It's a sign from God. Yeah.
I'm screwed.
Yeah.
You know?
So he falls on his knees, it falls on his knees, and he's like,
Oh shit. I personally take a picture of it. That's personally my thing is whenever something I have never seen before, I flip on my camera to just take a picture of it, just so that way it's there, and I can. That's mainly what you see with the Dark Watchers and with the evidence.
Yeah.
Is the pictures of the lights.
And that's the biggest thing is evidence, right?
Right.
So if I say, hey, I was up in the mountains and I saw this.
Cool.
Cool, man. You got a picture? No. So we're just going by your word? Yeah.
I mean, but then you have to think about like the paranormal stuff, right? Like I personally experienced a paranormal event, but I can't prove it.
Right.
So I mean, you just
Just like my paranormal event the other day.
yeah.
really perfect example. I was out on a hike in southern Indiana. Back trail, I was breaking the highest first one on the trail because I could tell because all the dang spider webs had to break through. But at one point, I looked down and holy crap, right in front of me, I was like, holy, that is the biggest trouser snake I've ever seen in my life. And I didn't have my camera to take a picture of it. And so, yeah, none of my girlfriends from then on out believed me when I said I had the biggest trouser snake. Talk about evidence, people. But
Technically, you can prove that now.
Dude, no, you wait till I leave, then you can prove it. I'm cool. But it goes back to that is
trouser snakes?
no proving it, because it does say that the time that it appears is with the people that do not have electronics and don't have cameras, that are just literally out there enjoying the wilderness and basically becoming more of the wilderness,
It's like the
and that's when they
skinwalkers.
appear. What's that?
It's like the skinwalkers. It's been passed down from generation to generation, and the new generation that's with technology and everything doesn't have hard evidence of it, but they still believe everything that happened in their ancestors' past because that's what they were saying. That's the legend. That's what
But, like, could you? Okay. These legends are passed down, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, man, whatever. This is complete bogus. People are just, superstitious, so forth. And you're out there walking, just doing your little thing, and you look up and just Dark Watchers standing in front of you, like, son of a bitch, they were right.
Right.
Because in natural tendency, when most people are out hiking, they are tending to focus, they're looking down, right in front of them.
They look up and see something magnificent that's massive to them, right?
Yeah, that one instance where they actually do look up, all of a sudden, with the sun behind them, bam, there it is. So,
But that's also
there's that
what
shock factors.
that's also what keeps on legends is it happening to the newer generation. So if it happens to the newer generation, that just gets passed down to the next one. So In my opinion, I think lots of legends have some sort of truth to them. It may not all be true, but I think it has some basis in truth that someone in the past definitely had an experience with it.
Yeah.
But will I have that same experience? Probably not.
Has it varied? Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I guess without asking this question, I think we kind of went around about it, but debunked or real?
Well, before we go that route, I do want to ask, and I may be wrong. Weren't the reports of this happening also in Europe?
It happened in Germany.
Like in the mountains of like, the Alps and so like southern Germany, etc. as well. Prior to, are there known or like recorded?
It happened, from my understanding, when California started having this happen. That's when Germany started having it happen, because people were trying to debunk it as light anomalies.
They were looking for it,
and they were like, "No, we're having the same issues over in Germany."
So it became known or started to be talked about in public around the same time.
Yeah.
May have been happening prior to. Okay.
So yeah, I'm glad you brought up Germany, because it did happen in Germany.
Okay.
It could also be another mountain that, was shaped the same way.
It could, but
I
I guess to have those entities per se happen in the same figure, is that plausible? In the same, or in two different areas, you'll never really know though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's a mountain really shaped the same as another mountain.
Is there any pictures of the Germany incident, or is it just?
You might be able to find one.
Let's look. While we're here.
Yeah.
Now, watch out. The Germans, they get into some crazy porn stuff. So
what's
up to?
Yeah, dark. Just, I don't know if you would put German dark watchers. That might get kind of crazy. You ever watch what's the movie Road Trip, where he gets into some German Europe village, whatever?
Fucking creepy ass.
So that's got to be like a video game.
That's a video game.
Yeah.
It's still a creepy picture, but yeah, it's got to be.
That's like the Orange Eyes from Mansfield, Ohio. You ever heard about that?
No.
It's like a version of Bigfoot.
Or saying that like Mothman was supposed to have the red eyes.
Yeah. Yeah, Mothman's red eyes.
But Mansfield has the orange eyes guy?
Yeah. It's a version of a Bigfoot.
No kidding.
Check it out. It's pretty cool. It's very short. I thought about doing a video on it, but it's just not enough information.
What's this guy in a suit?
It's about something. That looks more like a mountain than a dark watcher to me. The California ones look like a figure.
Yeah.
That looks more like a mountain.
Yeah.
I can see the whole.
The angel's wings.
Yeah.
So, your thoughts on it? We'll go around the table. Debunked or
ask you first. What do you think?
Ask me first.
Yeah.
So, it's debunked for me. There's a phenomenon called palladium. It's in paranormal. It's basically where lights and clouds and so forth match up to make you think you're looking at something that's really not there. Like the clouds.
Mm-hmm.
If you go outside and you're like, oh, hey, it's a little bunny rabbit. It's not a bunny rabbit. It's just the way the cloud, it's the way you see it. So I think it's debunked. I don't think there's anything paranormal on it. I think it's just the way you see, the way your brain interprets the information that it gives you. So yes, the light may play a factor in it, but the thing that got me the most was when sunset and sunrise.
Yep.
So there's light manipulation. Thoughts?
No, I think for me, I think majority of it is debunked. I think the residual thing that happened on top of the mountain, I think that probably is not going to be debunked. I think that is more of a I mean, I personally believe that there's residual energy everywhere. So not just in your house or in buildings, but outside, out in nature. There's always going to be something residual there in terms of spiritual energy. And I think what he saw, what was the teacher saw that day, most likely was there, but was more of a residual thing rather than a dark watcher. So I think the Dark Watcher phenomenon is more of light shows and your eyes playing not necessarily tricks on you, but just the way the light bounces off the mountains is what I personally think. So.
Oh yeah, and I agree. I think definitely debunked as far as a phenomena or the ghost thing. But at the same time, though, it's the scientific the light phenomenon. Yes, obviously it does happen because we've had people report it and so forth. And I'm kind of caught up in like, man, I want to take think about how much fun guys or guys or gals, with your significant other who haven't heard about this, and you take them hiking, and all of a sudden you see this.
Shit.
How much fun could you have with them?
Yeah.
Like, we're being watched. Whoa! And play on it. And like, oh my god, you could totally just run with people far more creative than me. You could just have a ball with it. So, or just even your like group of friends.
Right, yeah, like a campfire story. You're sitting around campfire, someone's going down, like, what is that?
Exactly.
Just like me, like, holy shit, the rapture's coming. I need to repent because I think I'm gonna go to hell.
Or tell no responsibility for any of you who actually do that, and then your friend runs off a cliff, and don't come blaming me because they're an idiot.
Or you take that and you tell them, oh, that's a Dark Watcher, and go over the entire history of Dark Watchers, right? And that, with the campfire story, you just make it a thing like that. That's the Watchers that have been watching over these mountains for centuries,
and talking about that, the Native Americans and so forth, that when I say 1542, that literally may be what they're someone's just watching this land for us, watching out for us.
Yep.
And just kept it rolling from there.
So are there any reports, and I didn't see, of even from Native Americans or even the Spanish, about events or happenings after they would see these Dark Watchers?
Just that there would be a strong presence, someone watching you. I mean, and that's
that'd be a feeling, yeah.
So we saw this, and then 20 minutes later, the mountainside erupted, or we got manna from heaven, or that stuff.
No, it's just the strong presence of being watched. But I'm pretty sure if I saw someone in the flight of the sun that looks like a person, like, I think I'm being watched too.
Yep.
Yeah, especially back in those days, because going back to what we talked about before, the religion, all that stuff was cemented into nature. So the rain dances, all that stuff. If someone saw a person-like figure in the sun, it's a sign from one of God's. So I'm sure they ran with it that way.
Gotcha.
So debunked.
Oh yeah,
debunked. Yep.
Absolutely.
All right.
It's still fun to talk about.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. And it's one of those things where there wasn't a whole lot of information on it. But to dive into your ideas and thoughts of it is what makes it that much better.
Yep.
Yeah. And like I said, a good campfire story for all you guys out there. Run with this one around it. Oh yeah. So, you're welcome, America.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hopefully you like the video. We've had a little drink tonight, so our podcast was a little bit more on the edge, I guess. A little bit more funny.
Yeah, I think it was more on topic.
More on topic? You think so?
Funny how?
Funny how?
Like haha funny?
You're fun.
Little Joe Pesci reference right there. For those of you my age who actually appreciate this.
I like it too. Thanks. We talked about Joe Pesci the other day in one of these.
Was he in Home Alone?
Yeah. All right. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.
Have a good one, guys.
See you guys.